So guys, we are discussing about edema due to increased capillary hydrostatic pressure, and we came to the causes that why do the capillary hydrostatic pressure increase, and it was due to impaired venous return or arterial dilation. And in the impaired venous return we wrote up to the constrictive pericarditis, and we talked about venous congestion and arterial dilation, and but we told that we shall write in the next video. So let's continue. I will try to make this video short as the previous video went too long. So from this part continuation from E1. You will find in the playlist, this video you will find in the playlist hemodynamics and the E1, and this is the continuation from E1. So we are talking about venous congestion. Yeah, so venous congestion may be due to thrombus formation. I told you, thrombosis, or may be due to pressure from tumors. Okay, the other cause I mentioned was due to lower extremity inactivity or prolonged dependency. This actually causes or bed rest, prolonged extremity inactivity, lower extremity inactivity may cause deep vein thrombosis. The main common site for deep vein thrombosis. So common cause of deep vein thrombosis. That's why. So the venous congestion causes a thrombosis pressure from tumors, and due to lower extremity inactivity or prolonged dependency, not deficiency, dependency. And then this was from impaired venous return, and the other was arteriolar dilation. Arterial dilation may occur due to heat or neurohumeral dysregulation. So we'll discuss about more about neurohumeral dysregulation or neurohumeral mechanisms in septic shock. So just remember, heat or neurohumeral dysregulation may cause arteriolar dilation. Okay. So after we discussed that the first category, that is edema due to increased capillary hydrostatic pressure, the next one is B. We mentioned in the first video. Sorry, this is E1 also has E1A and E1B. So this was A1B, and this current video is E1C, continues from A1B. So and the topic B was what? Edema due to decreased plasma osmotic pressure. Yeah. So we discussed that plasma osmotic pressure is the pressure exerted by the plasma proteins present in the blood. So this occurs, plasma decrease in plasma osmotic pressure occurs due to two mechanisms. There are two mechanisms, either decreased production of plasma proteins or the other one is increased loss of plasma protein. Or okay, so first let's discuss about the decreased production of plasma protein. This occurs in case of severe liver diseases, as liver is a major organ producing plasma proteins. So there is decreased production of plasma protein in case of severe liver diseases. So in case of severe liver diseases, or even in protein malnutrition. Okay. The other mechanism is due to increased loss or excessive loss, due to increased loss of plasma proteins. And this is due to increased loss of plasma proteins is due to is in case of nephrotic syndrome or protein losing gastroenteropathy or nephrotic syndrome. So let's what happens in nephrotic syndrome due to nephrotic syndrome or protein losing gastroenteropathy. Okay. So what happens in nephrotic syndrome is there is massive loss of proteins through urine. In nephrotic syndrome there is loss of massive amount of proteins through urine, that is also known as proteinuria. So we'll write it loss of massive amount of protein in urine. Proteinuria, which leads to hypoproteinemia. Okay. So now in the previous video we told that in normal condition there is a balance between capillary hydrostatic pressure and plasma osmotic pressure, so that the fluid does not flows out of the fluid does not flow out of the vessel into the interstitial tissue spaces. But when there is increased, we discuss about what happens when increased capillary pressure. But what happens due to decreased plasma osmotic pressure is the same thing happens, imbalance between those two pressures. So imbalance, even if the capillary hydrostatic pressure is constant but the plasma osmotic pressure decreases, then what will happen? The tendency of the fluid to be driven out into the interstitial tissue space will increase. There will be an extra force that will tend to drive out the fluid into the interstitial fluid in case of decrease of plasma osmotic pressure. So this will lead to edema. So and the edema caused due to hypoproteinemia or generalized edema. Okay, so edema caused due to hypoproteinemia or generalized edema. Okay, and generalized edema is also known as anasarca or dropsy. Okay, got it? So two mechanisms for decrease in plasma osmotic pressure, that is decreased production of plasma protein which occurs in severe liver diseases or protein malnutrition. The other mechanism is increased loss of plasma proteins due to that may be due to the nephrotic syndrome or protein losing gastroenteropathy. In nephrotic syndrome, what happens is there is excessive loss of massive loss of protein in urine, that is known as proteinuria, which leads to hypoproteinemia. And edema caused due to proteinuria or hypoproteinemia, which leads to imbalance between islet capillary hydrostatic pressure and what plasma osmotic pressure, which is then leading into edema. Okay, which is then causing edema. So this edema caused due to hypoproteinemia are generalized edema, and generalized edema are also known as anasarca or dropsy. So you may have a question that what must be the level of the plasma protein or so that edema does not, what is the minimum level? So not this, when plasma protein level is less than 5 gram per deciliter or albumin level is less than 2.5 gram per deciliter, that may cause edema. Okay, so while discussing about plasma osmotic pressure, in the previous video I told that it is exerted by the plasma proteins in the blood, mainly due to albumin. That's why we have written over here the plasma protein level less than 5 gram per deciliter or albumin level less than 2.5 gram per deciliter may result into edema. So this is about the second pathophysiological category, and after this we shall discuss on edema due to inflammation and retention of sodium and water, and the last one edema due to obstruction of the lymphatics. Thank you. And one more thing, you'll find all these video in the playlist named hemodynamics, and I have differentiated made the videos in the order as E1, then E1B, E1C, E1D, okay, E1. So you will not get confused. You can see the videos, you can watch the videos in serial order and make the notes. Okay, thank you.